afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Odogus and Alahajis, Ogas and Madam, and welcome to The Last Line, the future #1 podcast in Africa. My name is Obinna and Udoka. I am your chief host, and with me today is Udoka Ofebu.
Yes, I'm the co-host. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you. Today we are going to be talking to you about the aim of our podcast. The aim of our podcast is to enlighten people all over the world, especially in Africa, about social and economic issues that we are facing as people, and entertainment and sports issues as well. The Last Line is a podcast that is your #1 go-to, where you want to have enlightened information from diverse points of views. And our aim is to go all over the world to enlighten our people about the prevailing social, economic, entertainment, and sports issues all over the world as it affects especially Africa. Without further ado, I will start with our topic for today. Today, Udoka, we are going to be discussing about the Sudanese War.
Yes.
And it's a very pressing global issue which has gathered a lot of interest from all over the world. But I will just hand over to you. First and foremost, can you give us a background?
Okay, well, I want to talk about Sudan. Sudan is a very diverse country found in the Horn of Africa. It borders Egypt, Somalia, and Ethiopia, and has a port on the Red Sea. The Red Sea port is the most important factor in this whole Sudanese Civil War because, if I'm correct, at least 75% of world trade goes through the Red Sea. So whoever has power to whoever has access to the Red Sea port has access to a very, very powerful trade route. Now, in the Sudanese Civil War, you have two main actors. You have the RSF, that's the Rapid Support Force, which is led by Hemeti, and you have the SAF, the Sudanese Armed Forces, led by General Abdel Fattah. Now, this is a very funny situation in the sense of these two people were put together at once. They were both allies to the former president, Omar al-Bashir, until they deposed him together in 2019, put a transition council, quote unquote, deposed the transition council, and they started fighting for state supremacy amongst themselves. So now, where me and Obi are coming from now, we're trying to give you guys the angle to understand what is causing the Sudanese Civil War and the state actors and the powers in play here. From my research and what I've seen, Obi, the RSF is backed by UAE.
Yes.
And some people will say UAE is a friend of Uncle Sam, that's the United States of America.
But they are.
Yes, they are, but not all, you're not in control of everything your allies do. UAE also have their own foreign policy they're trying to push, which is #1. Almost all the gold people buy in Dubai, 10 Dubai gold, is all found in Sudan.
Of course, yes. Well, most of it, yes.
Most of it, yes. No, we cannot assume, but most of it is found from Sudan. How is this gold being transported during this whole civil war that has been going on? Mind you, this Sudanese crisis has caused either the second highest humanitarian displacement crisis in Africa, if I'm correct, after this present Sahel region crisis. It's the highest, yeah?
It is the highest humanitarian crisis. And it was caused by Uncle Sam and her allies in the UAE, who continue to come into Africa and use it as a place where they take away our resources and use it to develop their place without doing anything for the people on ground.
So now, who were the Sudanese allies to Omar al-Bashir when he took power in 1989?
Why do you start from Omar al-Bashir? Why don't you start from the time of Sadiq al-Mahdi?
Okay, please, let's start from there.
Let us start from the time of Sadiq al-Mahdi. You see, a lot of people don't know how deep Africa's problem is, because back in 1968, Sudan had a leader called Sadiq al-Mahdi who embodied a strict code of religion. He was someone who was well grounded in Islamic law. In fact, he was an imam. And his vision, though he came from Khartoum, which is like the elite capital in Sudan, his vision was for the indigenous people from the northern part to the southern part, wherever they are, to have some kind of autonomy for their resources on the ground. Which means that if they have that autonomy for their resources on the ground, they will not need the intervention of the likes of UAE and USA today, because they are in control of the resources that is coming from the ground. But this same Omar al-Bashir, with the help of these UAE and Americans, were able to topple Sadiq. They toppled Sadiq, and Sadiq came back in '88, and Omar al-Bashir use this Janjaweed boys, what do you call them?
RSF.
Yes. This RSF was a Janjaweed group of vagabonds. They carried some guns. They were used to depose Sadiq. And after they deposed Sadiq, this same RSF now turned against Omar al-Bashir, because at the end of the day, your capitalist friends don't care about whether we are developing or not. What they care about is how they can siphon as much resources from the ground and put it to the table for them.
Okay, Obi, you say my capitalist friends, quote unquote. Let me jog your memory back. If you guys remember, Sudan was one of the states that one of the first states put on US terrorists because they were hosting Osama bin Laden. That's the first point. The second point is this: Omar al-Bashir entered power using a theocratic/Islamist front to depose your good friend.
And what is wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that too, but I want you to also put that in mind that 3 years after Omar al-Bashir entered power, or 2 years afterwards, US started placing sanctions on Sudan. They started embargoing trade on.
They are placing sanctions on Sudan because they are in charge of their indigenous resources in the ground. That's
No,
they're
placing sanctions. But why? Wait. But why is it that they are placing sanctions on the same Omar al-Bashir that you're saying that came in with my capitalist friends? Why are they not placing sanctions on him? It's easier for them to give him a free pass to just do what he wants to do. It's because they're not his friends. People just look at life this way because anytime there's money to be made, they think America is at fault. Who doesn't like money? Even the Russians, the Chinese, the communists, no matter whatever socialist state you're trying to do, they all want to get gain. Russia, China, they will not come and help anybody if they're not going to get gain. If not, they will be helping Haiti. Why is nobody helping Haiti? What is your communist and socialist friends are all here for help? They are coming with a love, they are coming with love of Africa. Go and help the people that are really suffering, that have nothing to give you. But no, the socialist and communist people are only there to fight against Americans. Most Americans don't have any interest in that place, they do not have any interest there, and they forget all this whole brother love formats that they try to use to deceive all of us. Again, I'll take you to go back again. In the early 2000s, when Omar al-Bashir was under watch list, both terrorist watch list, so Sudan was placed under trade embargoes, placed under sanctions. It was the Russian friends that were giving him arms, it was the Russian friends that were giving him support.
Russia was giving Omar al-Bashir.
Yes, Russia was giving him arms. Russia was his protector at some point. Again, I'm not trying to say Russia is supporting him and his wickedness, even though the Russians are not, they cannot be trustworthy, they cannot help anybody for free, and all they want to do, the socialist and communist people, is to just fight against capitalism. Where there is no capitalism, they don't care, but once there's capitalism, then that's when they see there's a problem. But back on track, Russia are the same people that were protecting this guy. Russia are the same people too that were helping him, because once you put you on sanctions list, you have no other option but to turn to the enemies, Russia and China. So, what difference? I didn't tell me that Russia was not helping your friend Omar al-Bashir at that time, when he was a terrorist and when he was doing wicked things to people.
Let me come in there, because you are coming in from the assumption that I am a Russian supporter. I'm not a Russian supporter.
Okay, sorry.
Not a Russian supporter.
Sounded that way.
I am a supporter of Sadiq al-Mahdi and his policies. And let me tell you why Sadiq failed. Sadiq failed not because of Russia or China or America. Sadiq failed because the elites in power in Khartoum did not like his policies. They were not happy that he wanted the cleaners on the streets. They were not happy that he wanted the PE teachers in school to be able to have access to the resources that is coming from their own ground in such a way that they will be able to feed 3 times a day and they do not have to depend on the elites. If you go and enter Google, you will see that it was the elites in Sudan that actually turned against Sadiq, which gave Omar al-Bashir the impetus to then come in and then bring the Americans and then use it as a catalyst to remove Sadiq al-Mahdi. I am not saying that we should run to Russia and we should run to China. What I am trying to say is that we as black men, we have to look at ourselves. Our solution is not going to come from Uncle Sam or Mother Russia.
I can agree with you on that.
Our solution will come when the Omar al-Bashirs of this world do not look at the policies that Sadiq al-Mahdi is making and say, see, these policies is going to make my gate man start doing big man for me because he's going to be feeding 3 times a day. No, we have to look at ourselves as the forebringers of wealth. We don't have to be looking outside. And this is what Sadiq was trying to do. America used Omar al-Bashir to stop him. And funny enough, after they used Omar al-Bashir to stop him, did they not turn against him?
They never
turned
used him to
against
stop him.
al-Bashir.
They were against him from the jump because the man is a genocidal terrorist.
No, they were with Omar when Omar removed Sadiq.
They might not have been with the previous leader, but they were not with any Omar al-Bashir. Number one, we all know America is the first. We all know America is the state that likes to separate any religious institution from the powers that the state have. That's the first and foremost thing with America. Secondly, we both know this. Once America puts you on US terror watch list, once they start putting embargoes on you, once they start giving you trade sanctions, you cannot buy anything, there is no how you are an ally to them. America have helped people that have done worse once you are an ally to them. You understand what I mean? I will say the honest truth. But this Sudanese issue has nothing to do with America. These are Arab countries that are trying to find their supremacy in Africa because some Africans feel they have Arab heritage. Now let us go to the
But
president.
they are American allies.
No, they are allies from different countries. People have allies. So okay now.
The United Arab Emirates are allies of America. It's a well-established fact.
Okay, it's the same way Egypt is an ally of Russia and are also helping the SAF. It's a well-established fact. You're trying to tell me that Russia's intentions are with the SAF as well. Allies don't make or break everything. I can be your ally today, but if your enemy is still my enemy, it does not mean anything. But now, to carry it back on track and to support our argument that they are still killing the black man, because this whole Sudanese thing, we're not here to argue about the capitalist socialist this thing. We're not here to argue about how these people from Europe, America are here to come and play games with us in Africa and put us against each other. The RSF, let's take it back to the RSF now. The RSF started up as a combination of Janjaweed militias. These Janjaweed militias were started by Omar al-Bashir as his own private security to help quell riots in the early 2000s or mid-2000s, if I'm correct. After some time now, in a similar situation with what happens when you give third-party paramilitary organizations power, when you give them that power and they don't do what they want to do, they become idle, they have weapons, and now have this lust for power, which now gives them unnecessary power trip that, okay, yes, we can make this money, we don't need the government. Which is what happened with the Omar al-Bashir guy. What happened to Omar al-Bashir? The Janjaweed people that are now the RSF, those were his boys. He funded them. He told them to go and do mass genocide in Darfur. Told them to go and kill people because of what they did not have, quote unquote, Arab origins. Have you seen Omar al-Bashir? Does that man look like an Arab man to you? He's a black man cosplaying as an Arab black man. And this is the problem. This is the problem with racism, is that the racism, what they've done to all black people is that we try to look for ways to connect ourselves with other people that are not us, just to feel more special, which is not even normal. And now you take this down to Sudan. You see what is going on in Sudan? They are killing black people because they are black. That is what is going on. That's what the RSF is doing. The SAF, they are killing people too because why? They are black Arab men. Just why? Because of what? Money, gold, the seaports, jewelry, mineral resources, everything. And pitting countries against each other. You have communities that are wiped out. So I'm talking about men are not alive, boys are not alive, women have been turned to sex slaves. All this is done because of what? Power, and because of who is backing this power? The UAE. America is not involved in this in any way. There has been no proof to say America has been involved in this. There's been no proof to say America saying UAE give these people weapons. All this is all under assumption because America is allied to the UAE. For all we know, America could be behind the scenes trying to help people out. And another factor people are forgetting in this whole issue with the Sudanese people are the communist godfathers, the Chinese states. They have a very big interest in it as well because they're trying to get access to the Red Sea ports. Obi, wouldn't you agree?
China is gigantism. Come on, China doesn't need the Red Sea. China is gigantic. China has too much already. There is nothing that China needs. What China actually needs is for Africa to stand on its own. You agree with me that the only hope for the African man, the only hope for the black man, is not to look towards China or to look towards America, but to look towards his brother.
Yes.
Of course, now you have agreed with me. Therefore, there has to be the rise of the powerful black man. You see, a lot of us are so greedy. Our problem is greed, and that's basically the problem Sadiq faced. Because for Sadiq to be able to impose policies where the cleaners, where the PE teachers, where people who are doing what is quote unquote called the menial jobs are paid a desirable wage where they can feed their families, send their children to universities. For him to be able to implement these policies, he has to be the big man in Sudan. He has to be the big man and influence policy which is deliberately meant to take away wealth from the wealthy and distribute it downstream to the lowest person in society. And it is these big men in quote that facilitates the coming in of the Americans and the UAEs because they're afraid that they're going to lose their wealth. And that is why we have to try as much as possible to back our leaders in power, because they are facing a lot. Not to go and start calling for all these capitalist companies that don't care about what's happening on ground. What they care about is just profits.
But Obi, would you agree with me that half of the leaders in Africa are incompetent?
No, they're not incompetent. They are made incompetent because of the capitalists. Because they are capitalizing on the narrative that they are incompetent to make profits. Come on.
No. Half of the leaders in Africa are incompetent. Either by choice or by design. These leaders know what they want to do. Even if you say, for example, now you want to say, okay, let's look for the ideal socialist. Let's look for the ideal communist. I'll go with the late great Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara tried to do a beautiful job in Burkina Faso. I think that's where me and you can get a midpoint.
He did
a good job until what
he was America's enemy, by the way. I'm sorry, but
was an enemy of France. France is America's ally, but it's not was America's enemy directly.
Okay.
Do you agree with me on that?
Well,
we can agree to disagree.
Let's agree.
Yes. So yes, back on track. Thomas Sankara's situation is a situation of France wanting to take over, not America. America, yes, they have that dominance. And yes, I will not lie, I'm a capitalist. I believe in that because the world is a dog-eat-dog world. There is no problem with me if I have the capacity to make billions of dollars and the next man's capacity to only make thousands of dollars. I'm not saying he's lesser of a human being than me, but it's not my fault that I have the capacity to be more successful. It's also not your fault if you are looking at me if you can make billions of dollars and I'm stuck making millions of dollars. It's not my fault. What I can do is with my millions of dollars try and help people. That's the best I can do. And last, it's still my money at the end of the day. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Let's take it down, because no matter how socialist or communist you want to be, when somebody wants to make money, now let me give you a hypothetical situation.
Okay.
Say for example now the world is, this hypothetical situation, guys, 10 billion, say it's $10 billion in the world hypothetical situation, and we're 10 billion people. They give every single person $1. Mm-hmm. Would you believe me that by the next day or 2 days afterwards, you'll still be somebody that will be worth more than a lot of people?
I agree with you.
Why? Because it is just the balance of life. Some people will know, okay, how to make an extra buck. Some people will know, okay, how to spend the money. Some people will know this is what I'll do to suffer small and make more money. But believe me, if they share money equally to everybody in this world, at the end of the week, believe me, you still have the rich and you still have the poor. And there will be no other excuse to say why are they rich and poor, because they have divided the money equally. So last class, it all comes down to your capacity. The only truth is all these ideologies, communism, capitalism, socialism, yeah, these are just things that were made in Europe, made in the Americas for that population and made at that time. Africa, for one thing I can agree with my friend here, is that Africa needs to create their own political system that can work and survive for everybody. But that political system is not the state providing for everybody. It's not socialism, because it cannot work in effect. If the state is meant to provide for everybody in Africa, my brother, we're going to be here waiting. We're going to be here waiting for a very long time. Not only the state to provide healthcare, provide school, provide security, provide every single thing, provide menial jobs, provide stipends in Africa like this with our overpopulation.
That's what the state is meant for.
Yes, ideally, but we're not in an ideal world. With tribalism put in place, how would that happen? With things like religion put in place, how would that happen? It will not happen equally.
Udo.
Yes, Obi.
You know, I don't want to come off like I'm, just disagreeing with you for the sake of argument, whatever. Mm-hmm. But to look at as human beings, what differentiates us from animals is that we have the capacity to create an ideal world. What differentiates us from animals is that between us, we have what it takes to create heaven upon earth. That is why whenever somebody has an idea that is based from God to put something on ground, capitalism naturally does not like it. If I give you $10 billion now, what are you going to do with it? You buy a house here. You buy a car. You marry one wife. Mm-hmm. You have some lovely children, send them to school.
Start a business.
You start a business, you start even 3 businesses. Mm-hmm. All those things, you only use $2 million. Can you tell me that you will be happy with that $10 billion? And there are beggars on the street that have not eaten for like 1 day straight. And you're happy within you.
No, but that's why as a capitalist, I want to charity organization and I'll help who I can help. That is what capitalism can do. Without that money from capitalism, I cannot help anybody and we'll all be beggars. So why would I make the money if the money is there for me to make it? I'm not killing anybody, I'm not shooting anybody, I'm not stealing from anybody, I'm not using my sense.
So Udoka, what you're saying is that all these billionaires now, they've made their money by giving to charity and all that. Billionaires make their money by taking from the poor in the first place.
But you can still decide to give
by exploiting cheap labor. That's how they make their money.
No,
that's why we need the state strong man. That's why we need the state strong man.
So we need strong men like al-Bashir again.
We need state strong men that are grounded in religious philosophy.
We need strong men like
that have fear of God. That's what we need.
We need strong men like al-Bashir again. We need strong men like
strong men that are grounded in religious philosophy. That are grounded in the fear of God.
I'll never ever agree with you.
I am not asking for people with the fear of God.
Fear of God for what? We need people with
the fear of God.
My brother, the fear of God are people with the fear of God are people in power now. We need people that have brain. See, we need people that have the fear of God.
People in power don't have the fear of God.
No, my brother.
Believe me. See, it's gospel.
The people in power here just do not have ambition. They do not have they don't want to be immortal. People think being immortal, yes, is being alive forever. No, it's your name, your legacy being alive forever. You talk about Thomas Sankara, you talk about Nelson Mandela, you talk about Kofi Annan, you talk about just off the top of my head, those three people. You talk about Jerry Rawlings. I've called 4 different types of people. I've called 2 peaceful people. I've called 2 hotheads. These 4 people now, what are they remembered for? Is what they stood for. Yes, they are strong men in their own different ways, but they're remembered for what? What they stood for. Whether they are allied with America, whether they are allied with Russia, whether they are allied with anything, but it's what they stood for. And when they enter power, they can now be able to help the people they want to help properly. But if you're coming out here and you're trying to say no, let us help each other, let us try and find a way to be equal, let us try and find a way to be equal. Obi, at some point you sit down and realize that the person that is cleaning the streets here, he's not meant to make as much money, if we are being realistic, as somebody that is a neurosurgeon. It's just the honest truth.
Well, how is that the honest truth?
Because some of them are bringing two different things to society.
What are you talking about? The person cleaning the streets is going to stop somebody from inhaling something that can make them go to a neurosurgeon. They have to give them that respect.
Yeah, but neurosurgeon is going to help somebody that got into an accident. Neurosurgeon is going to help somebody that has a spinal problem instantly. Neurosurgeon is going to probably save more lives. I'm not saying he's more valuable, but his skill set makes him more valuable. So that is what capitalism is. It pays you for your skill set.
Udo?
Yes, Obi.
Udo. Somebody can get into an accident because the road safety people that they are paying to implement good road laws and make road laws, they are paying them maybe 30,000 a month. If I see 30,000 a month, if you give me 30,000, I won't come to work.
Of course,
I won't come to work.
Of course, that's
so if you don't pay me, if you don't give me something I can use to maybe I have the wisdom, the brain to be able to put policies that can make our road networks very good, that can save millions of lives. You know, they say prevention is better than cure. I can put these road policies that cars will be driving smoothly, that can save millions of lives without any accolade. They don't even have to call me and say, oh, you did this. I don't have to wait until people somersault. But if you're paying me 30,000 a month, you think I'm going to come there and do any of this thing? I will even come to work. So by the time that person hits his head and goes to the neurosurgeon, then they'll say, oh, the neurosurgeon will take all the awards, will take all the accolades. But that can be prevented in the first place if the state, and it is only the state, the strong man from the state that can do it, that can say, look, I am going to take away this $10 billion from you, because honestly, what you just need is like $2 million. You have a house, you have a child, you have you're not dying, you're eating, your children are feeding, and I will give it to the people in the road safety so that they can make our roads safe.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Obi. The foremost capitalists in Nigeria or in Africa can all agree that Aliko Dangote, because he's the richest man in Africa in Forbes. How many jobs do you think Aliko Dangote has provided with his capitalism?
And that is why you see, that's what I'm talking about, the fear of God. Aliko Dangote fears God.
But he's a capitalist.
Yeah.
No, the fear of God is an assumption. We only assume he fears God. We don't know. We're not sitting there. No, I'm not saying he doesn't do, but I know we're all talking as. But he's not a capitalist. He's not still providing jobs. And I'm probably Aliko Dangote has probably provided more jobs.
I don't know. I'm asking. I'm not him.
The same way you cannot call your African strongmen and ask them why they are not doing the jobs right. Okay, now, the only African strongman I would say that goes in tandem, a little bit in tandem with what you're trying to tell me, and he still has capitalism involved, is Paul Kagame from Rwanda.
Paul Kagame?
Yes, Paul Kagame.
Paul Kagame?
Paul Kagame, yes.
Paul Kagame, I don't want to talk, I don't want to say certain things.
No, speak your mind, my brother.
You cannot call Paul Kagame in the same sentence when you're calling. Are we talking about people with the fear of God? Paul Kagame.
No, man. He is a man that
somebody that brought the US, say come.
No, don't do that. Paul Kagame, don't do that.
Visit Rwanda.
What are you talking about? When do you think? Yes, I'm happy. Yes.
Rwandese. I can call it Rwanda now.
Call him. Is it Rwanda coming Formula 1 next year? Is it Rwanda that will probably host the FIFA under
something Formula 1?
My brother, he brings FDI to the country, foreign direct investment to make the country better. Oh God Almighty, is he planting corn and rice that will give us money? We have to think ahead, man. The world is already set up in the way it is set up. You cannot beat it. Let me tell you the truth, but I can explain the game perfectly.
We can beat it.
We cannot beat it as of now.
We will beat it.
We cannot beat it as of now. As of now, we cannot. I am telling you. As of now, you cannot. There's no point now. You see, there's no point. It's like, for example, now. It's like now, for example, now, you have a small army of 3,000, 5,000 people. Once another fight against an army of 15,000 people because you have hope and faith and knowledge. Some things are not possible. When you roam, you act like the Romans, man. If we have to always have wisdom and sense, man.
We're not in Rome, we're in Africa.
No, but you have to play with the colonial masters, same way they play with us. Get what we can gain from them. Then from there you dump them. But as of now, they are important to us.
Oh, so what you're saying is that we are still under colonization.
My brother, globalization is new colonization. Nobody has understood that. That is it. Globalization is new colonization. That's just the truth. Before what you call it, before World War II, when the world shifted away from isolationism and started entering globalization phase, the UN started coming up and all that. Before then, everybody did their own ones. Everybody did everywhere now. Before then, you say a black man as the mayor in England. Before then, you say a black man as the mayor in the US. You understand what I mean? But now, globalization has changed the whole game. It has made it fair. It has made it equal. Now you can say, if I'm correct, I think a Muslim
man... Look, what you're telling me now is that the world is fair.
Well, life is not fair, but it's fair to an extent.
What is fair to an extent?
When has the world ever been fair, Obi?
Anyway, you see, this is a topic that we can go on and on. But the key point I want to take away here is that, Udoka, you agree with me that our only hope as black people is to look, we should not have a spirit of greed and jealousy. That somebody does not believe in God, that somebody is religious and is doing and is in power and is trying to put things on the table. We should not come with a spirit of greed to take away that wealth that person is trying to redistribute simply because it's coming from us. Just for greed, just to do big man. You agree with me?
I agree with you to an extent, but same way, do you agree with me that in an equal society, everybody's morals and feelings should be valid? So why should one person decide to say, okay, yes, my morals and feelings are the ones that everybody should take serious? What if the other people don't agree with that? Why can't you come to a consensus that everybody agree? Because it's a dog-eat-dog world.
But we are not dogs. We are men.
Yes, but we could suffer
as
the
ones.
Yes, but we could suffer as the ones that is not the one. Yes, we are in the likeness, but we are not. In an ideal world, my brother, there's no need for policemen. In an ideal world, there's no need for army. In an ideal world, there's no need for nuclear weapons. In an ideal world, because everybody's respecting themselves, nobody wants to kill anybody.
It was capitalism that brought these things in the first place.
No, when the Russians and the Chinese.
Why do we look them?
My brother, no, don't say the capitalists, man. When your companies are socialist friends of building their own weapons, why? Okay, who told them to build their own weapons?
Who used it?
Oh Lord,
my
brother, man. It was war. It was war. It was war. In war, things are allowed. My brother,
what is allowed?
Come on now, Obi, now, come on. There's the just war theory. After World War II, the just war theory was created. And bro, war is war. Mind you, Japan attacked America first at Pearl Harbor, unprovoked though. So now, because you come and slap me now, you don't come and tell me that I should slap you back on the cheek.
I believe the measure of somebody who is truly intelligent is to look for peaceful ways to solve problems.
No, Obi. There are times you have to show that if you're going to give, you must collect.
How?
Obi, let me give you an example, Obi, man. Say for example now, you go around, you push one of your uncles, maybe you have this uncle that usually drunk sometimes, you push him, and now slap his face. If that guy should kick you down the staircase like this, will you be surprised?
Why would I go push him and slap him?
But listen, will you be surprised if
can't I take him to therapy?
But if he should kick you down the staircase after I take him to therapy, will you be surprised?
Why would he kick me by taking me to therapy?
But if you're drunk now, it's not normal. That's how you know everybody is not normal. So whatever you do, you have any reaction you get is deserved. It's the same way you just see, my brother, you cannot tell somebody Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. Attacking people that are sleeping peacefully, attack them, not if they were on go mode, they were just there attacking them, dropping this thing. They are not telling me that Uncle Sam should not do that.
Was not sleeping.
And my brother, I promise you, oh my God, man, what Who has ever
They've
said?
always been on the move.
My brother, because there's been a dog-eat-dog war. Even your Chinese friends and your Russian friends.
I don't have Chinese friends. I don't have Chinese friends.
I don't have any American friends. So even your communist and your socialist friends that you are defending here, did they not try to do world dominance? Is it Russia trying to take over Ukraine? Is it Russia trying to take over Estonia? They're not playing in politics. They don't do a blackout in which country just to fuck with them so that they have power.
That was because they were.
Because of what?
They were divided by the Americans in the first place.
Because they want power.
All social Soviet Union
Everybody
was
wants
divided
power.
in the first place.
My brother, because why? Those countries want to leave the Soviet Union. Why can't the Soviet Union allow them leave them? Is it not equality you're talking about and justice and equity? Why can't they allow them leave the Soviet whatever union? They don't want to be part of it again now. To allow them to leave since you're Mother Russia and
because they've been corrupted by this capitalist nonsense.
I bet because the eyes are open and they don't want to be doing Mother Russia everywhere. They will say the state is to provide. The state is one man. In some situations, you are lucky that the state has a competent leader. Maybe you go to China, you go to Russia, you go to Singapore. Let me use Singapore as an example.
No, use China as an example.
Let me use China as an example.
Use China.
No,
Is China not doing well?
Yes, hear me out. China is doing well, yes.
Did they follow this capitalist nonsense?
No, but bro, okay, why is it that Xi Jinping is still changing constitutional rights to allow him run for power? Why is he still going against his opposition? Why is he jailing people illegally? If it's
because there has to be a strong man.
Then that is what America is doing.
Policy. No. We have to implement policy over a set period. Do you think 4 years is enough to do? Let's come tonight. Do you think 4 years is enough for any serious-minded visionary to implement the changes that is needed to push Nigeria from a third world country, a laughing stock, a joke, towards where we are destined to be? That is a global power. Do you think 4 years is enough? We need a strong man with the fear of God for a certain period of time to implement his policies with the main reason why capitalism created democracy is so that they can stop the development of the people that are trying to move from third world to first world. That is why any serious person has to have a set power for a particular period of time. This is the problem that they have with China. This is the problem that they have with the Ayatollah in Iran. Because they had their vision and they had the fear of God and they were able to put their policy in place year after year, fighting resistance, fighting opposition. They put it. And before you know it, when you sow, there is a time of harvest and you will reap.
But my brother, but I remind you as well, yeah, the Ayatollah of Iran, or these people in power in Iran, the theocratic government in charge in Iran, the amount of media suppression they do, crimes against humanity, crimes against women. Do you know that they flog women in public places just for speaking out against the government? Do you know that women in certain places...
Capitalist propaganda.
No, it is what is going on. Are they not following a theocratic form of government? Which means that religion, that theocracy is what is powering that government. Yeah. Do the research, do everything. Why is it that in a free world that we live in, as I'm a free black man like this, why must I do not want to say, for example, I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic. Say, for example, now Nigeria is forcing me to be a Catholic. Why must you force me to be a Christian? If you are telling me that you're giving me love and peace, why? I don't want your love and peace. That's what is going on in Iran. They are forcing people that you must be theocratic. Everything must be done under religion. And bro, in my own advice and and I'll say this as Udoka Benedict of Fable, if I ever become president of any country, I'm going to separate states, religion, and everything regarding anything state and religion.
Why would you do that?
Because it is the beginning of downfall.
No, the fear of God. We need the fear of God.
That was in the 90s and 80s. No
civilized country
does that. My brother, is any pastor in America that is a politician? Answer that question.
America is not a godly state.
Okay, is any pastor in Russia that is a politician? No, answer. Is any pastor in Russia that is a politician? Again, thank you for saying God fearing and bringing God in this room. Your communist Chinese friends, please remember what happened.
I don't have communist Chinese.
Okay, sorry, the Chinese people that are here to preach love. You know what happened in Uyghur when they were forcing Muslims to eat pork and drink alcohol? Why were they doing that to millions of Muslims? What did Russia do? Did Russia come and stand up against China for forcing people to change their religion because why the religion does not move, the religion does not match their state ideology?
These are some misguided. These are some misguided. They are always going to be misguided.
No, this is not misguided something, man. This is not anything misguided.
Put the they're always going to be
no. My problem is this: people make capitalists here, people make American capitalists seem like they're the devils. Meanwhile, they are just being realistic in the world, and they make Russians and Chinese and the socialists and the communists seem as if they are the world saviors. Meanwhile, they are just stubborn people pushing that narrative. And just because people like stubborn people naturally, everybody likes a rebel. Everybody said, Fidel Castro with the Cuban cigar in his mouth. Oh, Fidel Castro, Fidel Castro, Fidel Castro. Nigga, this of your okay, if you love your country, yeah, be honest with me, if you love your country and you're a president, so all the viewers watching, and you're seeing the whole world putting sanctions on your country is not gaining anything. Your people are living in squalor, people are poor, people are leaving your country by the boatload. People are, my brother, won't you step down from your position to see you're not the person to run that country? If you truly love your country, if it is for country and duty and honor, like what communism and socialism try to provide, the ideal thing is to step down. But no, you hold on to power and make yourself the state.
No. If I know I have the fear of God and I know that God has chosen me, why would I step down?
Obi, sometimes
why would I step down? I will have to fight the devil head on. I will fight the devil head on.
Obi, the fear of God can allow you eat, but not allow your people eat.
No, I will fight the devil head on. But there is no way God will feed my people. The devil will not feed my people.
Why not? Why now? See the Cubans that are offloading. These are Cubans that are offloading to Miami in the 1960s like boatload, man. Then Fidel Castro, the lovely Cuban socialist community, said
he was a great man.
Says flushing the toilet.
He
said he's flushing the toilet of Cuba and America. I don't say about his own citizens. You're telling me that it's about love. Don't be deceived by these people, these communist socialism people. They only care about themselves. They're not too shy to come out with their own personas.
I'm talking about us.
Us? No.
I'm talking about anybody else. I'm talking about us.
No, these black politicians.
Yes.
No, these black politicians, they like to say, it's either you're a communist socialist or you're a democratic. That's the rule in Africa. We all fall under those categories. You look at countries now that you don't do elections and all those things. Those are socialist communist states, quote unquote. Then you look at countries that they won't do the sham elections. And maybe this is where me and you can agree. This is where me and you can agree in this podcast. As well, we always agree because we are Pan-Africanists first. These ideologies, my brother, they were not created for us. That I can agree with you.
Yes.
Can you agree with me on that? I would say capitalism 100% was not made for Africa. Communism, socialism 100% was not made for Africa. There are different aspects of these ideologies you can bring together to now create the perfect political theory for African countries, which I really feel we can do. A year into this podcast, if anybody is smart, you won't be writing down what we're saying. But what we as of now, my brother, the next truth is this year. We have to take advantage of all these people, the capitalists, the socialists, the communists, get everything we can get from them, and us as black men use this to build. Because when they did the scramble of Africa in the 1800s, when they were in, I don't know whether it was Belgium, whether it was France, or whether they were Austria, men drinking wine from different countries saying they're going to come and rape and pillage Africa, scamming, doing this one, sharing our borders. Nobody cared about socialism, communism, or capitalism at that point in time. What did those European states care about? Their survival and their expansion. So us as Africans, we have to bring that ideology and bring that mindset that regardless of whatever, regardless of socialism, regardless of this one or that one, what is for Africa is for Africa. Can that be our second agreement in this episode?
I can agree.
Yes.
Because I said that.
Yes. No.
Greed.
No, greed is yes. We can agree that.
See ourselves
as yes. We shall open up. Yes.
But do you know that there are some people that would rather a white person is doing well than their gate man? They would rather go and do business. Just let's run out of time.
Just for the answer, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the sad thing about the realistic world we live in. Okay. But again, we do not live in an ideal world.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to us. Please let us know in the comment section what you think about what we have said. I've given Udoka all my points. Well, most of my points. I wish we have enough time so I can really tell him about the evil that is capitalism. But unfortunately, we are out of time.
And I hope Obi has learned a lot from me to say that capitalism is not evil, and these other people are not different. Since they're not his friends, I'll say these other people, the communists and the socialists, are not that different.
They're not my friends.
And they're not your friends. I say the other people.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comment section who you agree with. And please, if you like our show, subscribe, tell your friends about it, post it on all your social media platforms, and we'll catch you at the next one. Thank you very much.